Maybe this is paying off.
That's the default one.
Hello.
I'm looking at your website that you did, and I'm like, man, I hope when I grow up I can be like him.
Hello.
Yeah, that seems to work.
Yeah, can you hear that?
Yeah, they got it.
Yeah. Nice.
Cool.
And they can see me.
Yeah,
Where's the little screen for me then?
What?
Where's the little screen? Where can I see myself while I look?
Oh, it's I hid it, but it's there.
I will get there. But up to this point, I've been questioning that.
Just move it back to the whole thing.
Yeah.
Need better resolution.
Yeah, but I'm not going to be on this.
Yeah, we gotta fix the resolution.
What's wrong with the resolution?
He said it's not that good. Broadcast is in 144p.
Oh, okay. Go on then. Go fix it. Go fix it and I'll get sorted.
I think you're still cancer.
Wow.
Okay.
I was like,
No, I lost my
it's so flat that literally the rocks are like this, a mile apart.
I'm waiting for them to reply. I restarted the stream.
Seriously. School was like, so where did you say you're from?
Southampton.
Southampton? I have a friend named Peter Betts who lives over in Southampton.
Yeah, do you know, it's like this. I
Yeah.
And you knew how far somebody
Actually,
was?
that's
Good.
my
You're good to go.
Good.
My family comes from there.
B13. Okay, you're
Oh, you need to connect your thing to
50 miles
HDMI.
away.
What's that?
HDMI.
What?
We want to.
Oh, yeah.
And it was all cornfield.
Which I think it's on that side.
Cornfield.
Where is it?
It's not there. There's nothing behind. You're kidding me.
We've got a display port. We haven't got an HDMI.
Ah,
Hang on.
we have a VGA though.
Yeah, we've got a VGA. That'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to come this sit here.
No, I don't miss it. I lived.
Well, we can pull this back a little.
Or you can just sit there.
Yeah,
You can just sit here.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. By that.
Right, let's just get this moved over.
I know, I was like, I could do
Oh,
it too.
yeah. I hate these training sessions, but they're just pains to get established. Where's the...
You need help with coffee.
I got really good at writing crap.
Maybe, yeah.
Let's pull the table back a little bit.
Yep.
You reach it now?
Yeah. Right.
This thing should start on its own. Connect to it. You know, switch input to BGA.
Yeah, sort of.
Oh, okay.
Happy birthday.
Eek.
You're not just saying source on that.
This thing's on.
We are streaming.
We don't have
We are
oh,
streaming, but the screen doesn't seem to be coming on. Let's have a look. Display settings.
It had come on for like a second.
All right.
I now remember, I've seen that like 100 years ago. Yeah. Yeah, because like out in California they do, in Texas they do birthday. I remember now in New York they do
It
this.
seems it says it's only got one display connected. Right. Okay.
Connected? Oh wait, I think it's
Sorry guys, Richard, we're just having problems getting our screen set up, so we'll be underway very shortly.
Power cable for what coming on?
this
Talking
thing is
gestural.
Hey, Paul.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It wasn't plugged.
Yeah, that's what I said, right?
It was
I just plugged it in.
it was a plug.
Oh yeah, that's the thing.
That's what I was wondering. Which way is it?
Alright, so is it supposed to come?
Should, I have no idea.
It's plugged in now.
It was lucky to think that he's already
What are you
More
pressing
and
on?
more.
This.
Well, that's for the projector.
Alright, try.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Good morning, everybody. Sorry for the late start. We've had a few technical issues, and I'm sorry for the lack of preparedness that we've had this morning. Today we're going to be talking about Angular and TypeScript. Angular is an example of an MVVM. I think that stands for Model View View Model, but don't quote me on it because I'm crap at acronyms, as I've told everybody. We are not really going to be looking at Angular until a little later because we basically have to look at TypeScript first. TypeScript you are going to find very familiar. The course so far has provided you with JavaScript, which is familiar in one way, and it's also given you some exposure to C#, which you're also familiar with. TypeScript is an interpreted language, which means that it is interpreted at runtime, unlike something that is compiled down. But again, that's a bit weird too, because in order to get it to run in browsers, there is a process that turns TypeScript into JavaScript. So it's very much designed for the client, and it powers the back end of Angular. Now, I've got two computers running at the moment, so I'm quite happy to take answers from Richmond, and I know I'm streaming over there at the moment. So, does anyone want to have a guess at what the major difference between TypeScript and JavaScript is?
TypeScript strongly scripted, or
Yeah, Chris is there, right? TypeScript is an example of a strongly typed language, and C# is an example of a strongly typed language. JavaScript is an example of a weakly typed language. Now, having used both of these having used both C#, which is a typed language, and JavaScript, which is a weakly typed language, what would you say the major differences are when you're declaring variables?
The star versus int.
Yep.
Specifying the type.
Yep. Yeah, very good, very good. And
What'd she say?
Yeah.
People.
Oh yeah. Sorry. The answer I got was that when you declare variables in C#, you have to specify a type. When you declare variables in JavaScript, the type is, you don't have to declare a type, and I'm not even sure that you can really, unless it's a class or something that you've created. But the primitives there, JavaScript will just allow you to put any value into any box. It won't stop you from doing that. Now, in a language like JavaScript, it's perfectly possible to create a variable, assign an integer to it, and then soon after, assign a string to it. That same variable, it can hold all of those things. Thank you, Melissa. That's very good. I may well be using that later on. In TypeScript, you do actually express the type of any variable that you're creating, and that even if you want it to exhibit similar behavior, there is a special type for that as well. There's an any type, which is kind of your equivalent of an object type in C#. You don't quite know what it is. It can be anything, and that can exhibit the same sort of functionality as JavaScript does. You can assign anything to an any type, and that often happens because that often happens for compatibility reasons with old JavaScript libraries. So what are the advantages of a types language versus a weakly types language? So I'm just getting water, Richmond. I'll be back. Anyone got, what safeguards do you get as a coder when you express types?
Errors show up when you try to compare or alter. So you know it's going to throw an issue if you try to say one variable that's a string equal to a variable that's an integer.
That's great. Scott was just saying that this sort of thing would be flagged up if you try to assign, say, an integer to a string or a string to an integer. That would be flagged up. When would it be flagged up? Would it be flagged up when you ran the program, or would it be flagged up before?
Before.
Right. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you use types, errors like that can be caught at compile time. So your app won't even run or compile. You'll get problems with it if you try to. If you try to compile it into an app, it just won't run. It'll tell you that there's problems with it, and you'll know straight away whether your app is going to be okay out there in the world, and the answer is no. So you've got quite a bit of insulation with types languages that you don't get. One other thing
You can go on.
Okay. I know you guys probably like your JavaScript quite a lot, and I do too, but when you start to get further and further towards professional grade code quality, you really will spend, if you're doing things properly, a huge amount of your time just checking that things are the right type. I've had this experience in every weekly typed language I've ever used. I used to program in something called Perl back in the early 2000s. I programmed that for 3 years. When I first started, it was great. Yeah, I don't have to declare the type of anything. But when I started getting good and started caring about making my apps fault tolerant, I ended up spending about 40% of my coding effort just to check that things were the right type, you know? And that is a huge waste of effort in many cases. I find my preference would be for typed languages over strongly typed languages over weakly typed languages for that reason, because you just have a lot more confidence in the stuff that's going out there. Now, TypeScript is a superset of something called ECMA script, which is what we all know as JavaScript. JavaScript is actually probably the worst name that scripting language could possibly have, because it's got nothing to do with Java. Absolutely nothing. They're completely different products. They share no sort of common. What's the matter with me?
Well, we just need the camera to show up on top.
Okay. Okay.
There you go. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, they're completely different products, and you know, JavaScript has gained primacy for client-side scripting on the web, but you've all done JavaScript now. You know how permissive it is. I mean, we're not just talking about allowing you to sort of assign variables or different types into one variable. It will allow you, it will allow you to treat an assignment. If you could do if I equals 1, that's perfectly valid, and that's not really what what you probably meant was, are these two things equal? But what actually happens in JavaScript is you're just assigning something to something, and that's always going to be true. And you know, JavaScript's hugely permissive. It's a great asset in many ways. It's also a great failing of the language. So what's happened in the years since? There's been people have started moving toward TypeScript, and it's a slow walk because the browser support for it isn't entirely native across all browsers. JavaScript is still the de facto scripting language of the web. So what happened to bridge that gap? You write TypeScript, and there's a compilation process which has got a special name. I'm not sure whether it's used in any other language, but I know it's used to describe how TypeScript gets turned into JavaScript that could be run on the web. It's called transpiling. Okay? Turns TypeScript, strongly typed TypeScript, which you've compiled, into JavaScript, which can run anywhere on the web. There's a lot of good support for this sort of stuff in Google Chrome. So in Google Chrome, you can debug your TypeScript as if it were JavaScript. You can and basically step through as you would in a C# debugger. So it really provides the best of both worlds. The last firm that I worked for, we were doing TypeScript all the time. So I've got 6 months professional experience of using TypeScript. I've been doing TypeScript as a hobbyist along with Angular for about a year now, and before Angular 2 to 6, which is the versions that are out there now, I've done something with Angular JS, which is again a completely different product from Angular 2 to 6. Just to mention that we will be learning 2 to 6 later on today in the afternoon using something called Angular CLI. But for right now, we're going to go through and get TypeScript installed so you can have a little play and we can see the transpile process work properly. So if you open up a git bash for me, please.
We need to create a folder.
Yeah, well, I'll get to that, Brian. Jumping the gun there. Brian asks, do we need to create a folder? My answer is probably. Okay? Right. So I'm going to find out where my projects are on this machine. And they're here. So the Unix command, you can create a folder, but the Unix command for creating something, a directory is make dir, or the git bash commands. Incidentally, you may not know this, but git bash is, yeah.
Just minimize OBS.
What's that?
Don't close it, just minimize it.
Yeah, let me see if I can change this. Nine-point texting. We can do better than that.
Yeah, and just minimize OBS in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or people are not happy with the infinite mirror thing. Right. I think I'm going to make that slightly bigger so that we can all see what we're doing. Oh, I've gone too far. Right. Okay, so you've got you should all have Node on your machines at the moment, yeah? So I think the command to install TypeScript, if it isn't already installed, is npm install -g TypeScript. Anyone want to take a guess at what the -g flag is?
Global?
Yeah, oh, well done, they've taught you well, that's excellent. Yeah, that means TypeScript's going to be everywhere on our machine. Okay? So you should see something like that on the screen to let you know that that's happened. Everyone got Visual Studio Code installed?
Yep.
Excellent, excellent. I don't know if I have, but we'll find out soon enough. Visual Studio Code, it really is, well,
I think he has Sublime.
oh, okay. Well, I can use Sublime, I'll see how I can get on with that. But Visual Studio Code or TypeScript or Sublime, if you've got that, that's fine. TypeScript is just text files. I'll see if I can get a sneaky install. My preference is Visual Studio Code, and I would probably for the Angular stuff, yeah, if you can all make sure you've got that on your machines by the end of the day, because it's got some great support for Angular. You know, like go and find your files, and you know, it makes a lot of things easier. You can essentially control a lot of stuff, which. So we're going to create our first TypeScript thing, and this is the exact same example that you're going to find on the TypeScript website. But why break it if it's not? Why try to fix it if it's not broken? Right. So just like yeah. Sorry. I'm going to try and get Visual. Sorry guys, I'm going to get Visual Studio Code real quick because I control that a lot easier than this.
Hey Paul, do you want to just pause, change the display settings on this completely?
Oh yeah.
Personalize on the desktop, and then just give it a zoom of 150. I think that should do it.
Right. I don't think I'll go any larger than that, you know.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. But I will
Any little bit helps.
Magic 8 ball. Oh great. So before we start tying these things up, I think one of the big lessons that we learned from the last day is to try and introduce things in isolation. Now, unfortunately, there's no real way to introduce Angular in isolation because Angular comes with TypeScript, and that's what powers it. However, we can introduce TypeScript show what would happen if we weren't using Angular, and then show how how we would use it in Angular later in the day. So looks like I'm ready to go here. Almost. Right, so in whatever text editor you've elected to use, let's create a new file. We're going to do the classic programmer thing, hello world. So call it hello world. The extension is .ts. And I'm going to put that up on the screen now. Hopefully it's going to be nice and large. And if not, I can make that bigger. I know this environment. Once I've got everything configured, I'll be right back. So text search window off. Right. Right, so we just like JavaScript, TypeScript supports functions. We're going to create simple. We're going to riff on this a little bit. First of all, we're just going to write a function which simply returns hello world. Now I want to introduce you to a new keyword, let. Let is a more specific version of var. There are two ways to create variables in TypeScript. One is you can use var, but I would recommend that you don't do it, because var's got some crazy scoping stuff which not even every JavaScript developer will understand. It's got really weird rules. So there's two types of ways to create a variable in TypeScript. You can use let, which is to create a read-write variable, or you can use the term const, which creates a variable which cannot be changed after you've set its initial value, but it's still a variable. So let's create a person. Now I've not specified a type there. I get away with that. That variable will be a string. But let's make it explicit. Sorry, I've got to hit my resource. Actually, we're gonna just do the transpilation bit, then move straight on. Okay. I'm going to get this on a web page as well. So this is aimed at just printing "Hello World" on a web page in TypeScript. Now I'm going to create another new file. This is going to be a HTML file. And it's going to be the simplest HTML file going. Can you see that script, that text okay up on the screen? In fact, I don't think we need anything there. It's just leave that there because we're gonna so checks that I've been so long since I've coded up one of these manually. Yep, just need a source, don't need anything else now. Now someone's going to note, I hope you pull me up on this immediately, yeah? But someone should notice this immediately. I've been given this great prompt to put TS in. I'm tempted, but no, we're going to go for JS. Okay, why have I put JS there?
Because it compiles.
Yeah, nice.
Transpiles.
Okay, all right. So let's try transpiling that then, shall we? Hopefully, this will work. So the command to transpile something is TSC Typescript compile. Greeter, hello world, because that's what we've called our file. And I've got to get into my directory first. Make sure you're in your TypeScript directory. So, TSC, hello world.
Go back to the other report.
What's that? The other one. Oh, okay.
Is that the git bash command thing?
It's command line thing. I was asked if that's a git bash thing. TSC is just a command line thing. You could run that anywhere you could run that with a normal command prompt and stuff like that. It's an example of a command line tool. Yeah. And you've been using a lot of command line stuff over the last couple of weeks, and hopefully today is when you really get some utility out of it.
How do I pull that one up?
What's that?
How do I pull that one up? Just get back.
But yeah. So if you go back to your editor now, what's the matter with you? Do an LS for me, please.
Oh, what?
LS. Yeah, you spelled that incorrectly. Okay, now if you want to open that file up, we should have a working hello world. Although that doesn't seem too happy there. Yep, got it, that's fine. Nothing major, but you just create a Typescript app. So let's riff on our hello world thing a little bit. Now we shouldn't do this, but we're going to. We can create a class. We can create classes in TypeScript just as we can in C#, and we can create member variables of those classes just as we can in C#. And this is where we can type stuff. We can say that students got to have a full name, which is a string, okay? It will not accept this as a number. I'm going to go ahead and delete my JS file because I don't need it. And I don't like the squiggly line that I'm getting there, okay? So now we can introduce the let thing. Now let, as I said, is the equivalent of var, but it lets you create a read-only variable and it doesn't have the same scoping issues that var has. I don't want to get into a discussion of var scoping. There are people still arguing about it on the internet today, but it gets complex. So,
Hey Paul?
yes?
There's a question for you on the Slack.
Okay, great, thank you.
It's in the questions channel.
Where's that?
The questions channel?
Questions,
I can just tell you what it is.
What is it? Tell me.
Can you do tsc input.ts output.js if you want to control the name of the compiled file?
Yes, I'm sure you can. I'm not sure how to do it right now, but I can follow that up and get, yes. Yeah, most compilers that you ever use, I mean C#, the first C compiler I ever used, by default it used to create files called a.out. Yeah. So yeah, you can...
Just get questions for you. You can continue.
Yeah, alright. So we're going to we can create a new class just as we would in C#. The syntax is very similar. And we can pass this class in via a variable. Now the syntax is slightly different in TypeScript. It's something you're going to need to watch. But essentially when you're passing parameters in, it's identifier colon type. So now that I've passed that value in, I can just use this and I'm going to try and answer that TSC question right now.
I have a quick question for you, Paul.
Scott's got a quick question. So, fire away.
So, if we're looking at line 5, who to greet is the name of the variable we're creating, and we're saying that who to greet is a student.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
So
the colon is synonymous with is a. So you're just telling it what type. It's
yes.
Type of the
Yes. The colon is just the limit. Scott was asking about the format of the greeter stuff on line 5. So yeah. Again, we've got the name of the identifier, colon delimits that name, and student specifies the type. So,
how do you do comments?
comment. I've just been asked how we do comments, so now's as good as time as any. Double slash.
Easy peasy.
Okay, so, and I've just found out how to do, give it a different name. So we're going to do that now. So we want TSC, hello world, but don't sort of run off yet. So it's the out file, minus out file switch should give you a different output file than the default, the same name as the TypeScript file. So I've answered the question, hooray, well done. So is that good, right, okay, we're going to take a look at that file now. We're going to make a small change to our HTML file, why?
Can you stay there for just a minute?
What's that?
Could you stay there for just a
Okay. Yeah. We need to make a small change to our HTML file. Why do I need to do that?
And then on the TypeScript, please.
On the TypeScript, I'm competing. Nice. Yep. So just catching up a little bit here. Anyone still need TypeScript here or in Richmond? Or are we done on this bit?
You have one more question. It's on that.
Okay.
the question is there a way to do?
I know. I'm looking at the answer. I'm kind. Right. Yes, there is. There is. Okay. I've just found out. So I'm going to try changing this now to do this. Ticks have special meanings. Within TypeScript, you have different types of quotes. So backticks will try to interpret any variables that we've got inside. I'm going to recompile my TypeScript again because now I've got to stress that we're doing things very, very slowly this morning, okay? Normal TypeScript development is not like this at all. Sorry?
Yeah, you can go back to TypeScript. Thank you.
So backticks, these are the ones that are in the top left corner of most of your keyboards. You need to do that if you want to use string interpolation. Is that another question? That's another question answered. I'm feeling very proud. If it doesn't work, then I'm going to feel slightly less proud. So I'm going to change. I'm going to go ahead and fulfill the commitment I had earlier, which is to change this to Hello Student. If you've not given your staff a different out file name, then you don't have to do this, but I assume that everyone's following me along diligently and doing the same sort of stuff. So let's try hitting that page again. See what we see this time. Oh, okay. Oh, right. Instructor made a typo. Instructor made a typo. Let's sort that out.
Yeah, but
You ever have a double quote in front of the hello?
That's not the problem, but the problem was you need to put a dollar in front of this, okay? And if I go and recompile this now, and if you could all pretend that never happened, you know, take it to your graves, that sort of thing, yeah. String interpolation you can do in TypeScript just as you can do in C#. And I do believe you can do that in JavaScript as well. It's pretty much the same syntax.
Hey Paul, I think I might have missed a step.
Yeah.
On the HTML, why Hello Student? Is that the folder that you named it within
No.
TypeScript?
Have a look. It's
Where is the Hello Student?
see that there? I've been asked where the Hello Student is. We're now using Hello Student because we got the question about compiling with different output name. So breaking this command down, we've got the TypeScript compiler, we want the file that we want to compile, an out file option, and it is an option, you don't have to provide it, and we've said we want to compile it to a file called hellostudent.js.
Which is creating right now.
Which is creating, which is what we've referenced there. Yeah?
Okay, so you don't have another file outside of this name, it's Hello Student. The out file is what's automatically created.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I've not created Hello Student at all. I mean, we can take a look at it. You can look at the generated file. And straight away we can see that JavaScript's doing something different from the TypeScript. Now, typically, what happens in a working web application is that you don't have to do any of this manual plumbing. You have frameworks out there such as Webpack, which will monitor everything that you're typing, and as soon as you change what you're typing, it will recompile those JavaScript files on the fly for you. So you don't. Returning to my previous point that I was saying we were going slow. The only reason we're going slow is because by the time we've installed Angular, all of this is going to be happening automatically for you. The compilation into JavaScript, loading things up. So it's basically pretty important. But it's important that you understand what's going on. And this shows you in a very, very simple example what's going on, which we've not managed to knock up in a few minutes. Right, so let's take a look at some more language features, and let's see what happens when we try and mess things up. So unlike JavaScript, this will not even compile. And in fact, we're getting stuff if you try and compile that now, it won't produce a JavaScript file for us. Hang on, and maybe I need to save it first. Give me an error, Typescript. Yay! So there you go. In JavaScript land, that would have been a runtime error going up to your app. In TypeScript, your app won't even build. Right, so let's start going through a couple of the other types of variables that we can declare in TypeScript. Let's riff on our student. Let's fix our class again, and then riff on our student thing a little bit. So, I'm going to create a number. What's that? I'm going to delete my hello student stuff because that is annoying me. And the next time I compile this, I'm moving that into a different directory, which should insulate me. This is why I've created the JS directory. You might want to do that as well. Create a JS directory so that we can move this stuff over. There's a few little differences in the types, but they're mostly like C# types. What might we have used in C# for lucky number? Yep. Okay. Unless you're crazy and you might have used decimal. My lucky number is 7.75. So we can go ahead and we can assign these. Once again, if I try and assign things that don't fit, it's going to tell me at compile time. So I'm going to go and fix that up so that it works.
Let's hear it.
and we can create a couple more functions. Again, you've still got IntelliSense in Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code, this is one of the main reasons I like it so much, because it's got such excellent support for TypeScript, and I would say arguably better support for TypeScript than Visual Studio itself. And really riffing on Harper's string interpolation question, we can do this. Oh, maybe we can't. I thought that would have been okay. But we can certainly do this. Ah, that's why. We probably could do this. Again, instructor error. There you go. Don't worry, they're sending me back next week. And they're going to make me pay for it. No. Right, so I've got to pass it. My student. Nice. Right, so I'm going to make a small change here because I'm a bit cheesed off with having to delete that file all the time. This is what happens in a lot of web apps. Yeah, a lot of web apps will typically have a directory called dist, where the generated files, be it TypeScript. I don't know if you've looked at Sass and CSS yet, but Sass is it follows a similar principle. Sass is a way to do CSS programmatically that gets compiled out to normal CSS as part of it. TypeScript generally gets compiled into a dist directory. We're just going to stick it in hello student now, or JS hello student. If you can create a JavaScript directory and make sure that goes in there. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. I'm English. We say something. Yeah, a new folder called JS. Yeah, if you create a new folder called JS in the same directory as you're doing your TypeScript work, that would be great. And if you do that, we'll compile to there instead. I've got to change my markup file again. Why?
Because you moved your JS file.
Yeah. I'm just checking that I'm working here. Right, I'm give everyone a little bit of time just to get their apps done. Anyone need to see anything that's not on the screen right now?
I think so.
Pardon?
In the student information with the is present lucky number, where's that coming from?
Oh yeah, scroll up. I'll scroll up and show you. So we've created a class called student, and we've defined those as properties of student there. Now you'll notice shifting conventions as well. I mean, in C# we used to put opening braces on a new line. Yeah, we used to put sort of Pascal casing. Pascal casing is when the first word of every new word is a capital and the rest is lowercase. This, in general, TypeScript tends to use, and JavaScript tends to use a lot more camel casing, which is first word is lowercase, then the uppercase letter for everywhere else. But it's very much a personal preference. What's going to happen is probably whatever org you join that does TypeScript will lay down some standards for you which you'll have to follow. Doesn't really get any more. You know, I'll just mention it in passing in case people want to know. Okay. Still covering the basics here.
The last line on that again. The very last line.
I think it might interpolation
If your interpolation's not working, remember it's backticks. It's the little tick that it's a little it's a type of quote that are on. It should be underneath your escape key.
Hey Paul,
Next to the tilde.
you have a few more questions on.
Yep, cool.
2 more questions.
Right, yeah. I'm just going to explain now. Right, so yes, we do have. I've just been asked by Richmond whether we have arrays and dictionaries. Yeah, there is. We do have arrays and dictionaries. It'd be a fairly useless language if we didn't. So let's demonstrate that now.
Strings down.
What?
Oh. Can you sort that this?
Yeah, can you just like stop it and restart it? Maybe it'll start back up. It's the circle thing.
Yeah, go on. You sort it out.
Yeah. Can you check if you're back? I can't actually see. I think that doesn't work.
Whilst we're getting this sorted, everyone happy with their little TypeScript program? No one got any issues?
Good job. Okay. While we're back.
On the bottom one. Back ticks.
We're back. Okay,
Cool.
I'll just minimize that, sorry. If do open, you need to delete one.
What's that?
No.
Okay.
The older one.
So Ali was asking whether we can do strings. Oh, sorry, whether we can do arrays.
I've never seen that, but I'll try. Yeah, that's on this.
So if you take a look at the top here, declaring an array, very much like declaring an array in most other languages. You use the square brackets. I think you can dimension them if you want, like set the size of them, but I'm leaving that unbounded. And assigning to an array, it's just as simple as it is in JavaScript.
Oh, that's right. This needs to be in there. This extra one. That's the one you're editing right now. Yeah. You don't need that. Okay, to JS / no. Save. Thank you.
What does let do?
It's a specific version of a bar.
Just trying to remember this again. And what have I done there? If I'd have left that as it was, that would have by default had the type any. I'll show you that now. That's fine, and you can. This really is there for massive support of JavaScript. But I'm going to create this. And show you for loop, which you'll have seen before in JavaScript. A lot of these things you should have seen before in JavaScript or C#, which is one of the reasons you've been on this stack, because there is a lot of familiar. Whoop. There's much easier ways to join elements of a string. I just want you to know that. Going to use string interpolation again. So what am I doing in show teams? Someone want to explain it step by step? And what would the output be for that?
USA, or I mean, New Hampshire, whatever. The first team and the second. Is the index of the array.
Oh, very good spot, excellent spot, excellent spot. There you go. I didn't put that in there. I didn't put that in there on purpose, right? That was a genuine mistake. Okay. Typescript can't protect you from being an idiot, it seems. So. I'm going to go down here and I'm going to stick this in an H1. It's getting a bit. Oh. This is why you should never create markup with programs. You should use templates instead. Templates will protect you. I'm going to break this up to make it readable for folk everywhere. So I'm using string interpolation and concatenation now. Actually, I think that's a poor choice from me. There needs to be a P. And I'm going to come back to this, but you see the way that because we put that JavaScript file in a separate directory, we're no longer getting any squiggly lines, even though it exists. Right, is there anything you need to see which isn't on screen? The bottom? Yeah.
And then can we see the top?
Yeah. Is everyone finished with the bottom?
No.
No? We can do that in a bit.
No, never mind. Thank you. Stupid mistake. You're rubbing off on me.
I know. So your question on dictionaries, Ali, are they possible in Typescript? Yeah, they are, but they generally get implemented by an interface. I've not used them yet, and most of the top answers on this are all about creating your own dictionary issue, creating your own, rolling your own. So I suspect it strongly. I'm pretty sure it's going to support an object like this. But you're not really getting the benefits of TypeScript there. So look, one of the big things about TypeScript is it has to be compatible and compilable to JavaScript. So JavaScript sort of constructions are fine, and that will compile, and we will be able to access yeah. In fact, let me do something useful with that. You don't have to do this. I'm just doing it for Ali. And look at how much support we get in VS VS Code here. This is excellent, and this is one of the reasons I always prefer to develop TypeScript in VS Code than I do in Visual Studio. So anyone need to see anything
up at the top?
Up at the top?
Just okay. I'm putting teams, so it's not teams.
We'll get everyone to the same place for this, and then we'll break.
Did you say the dictionary stuff was just for Alec?
Well, he did ask the question. He wants to know if they were possible. I've just put one there, but yeah, you can put that in if you like. You can put in a perhaps heartier farewell than leave the premises immediately, sir.
Should we use something else?
Tell him that we're right now about to take a break, so we'll get stream back there.
We don't really have to because we like we don't really.
Is the stream off again, is it?
It keeps going and coming back. It's back right now.
That's what happened. Okay.
You know, come on. You've got a squiggle, you can see what's going on there. That's not length, it's length. Length. As you would say, hatched. H-T.
Scroll down to the bottom.
All I have to do is learn how to spell now, right?
It was so big.
Thanks, Paul.
I don't see it. It's not the
Hey, move it. Yep, yep, yep. How do you do that?
Do what?
Transpile.
Trans what?
Transpile. He said that's what they call it, I guess, like
You mean
compile. Compile. He calls it transpilation.
Yeah, okay. Well, for one, I think you still need to save it. See, you see this, it tells you it's not saved. And if it's not saved, you'll have the same error you had last time.
Yes.
And you don't want that.
Yes.
So now, we have,
So I did that.
you do that. Yeah, and then you open index, your index HTML, not from where you want.
It's so weird.
You have an error. You have an error.
I didn't know how to.
It says you do. You're missing a colon somewhere. You can figure that out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, thank you. I put a colon instead of a semicolon. Yep. Scroll up to what? Say when. Scott? Oh, you can hear this.
I need to let me. Still doesn't.
Stop motion. Right now, they only know
Got that. Messed up.
Your question on, there's a question for you on.
Yeah.
Can we do it again? Where's that? Is yours? Yes. G. C.
Well, I just want to compile my TypeScript real quick because right, we're going to break and then we're going to have an exercise and we're going to get you to do some of your own simple TypeScripts once we get back. After we get back from lunch, we're going to do some rather more exciting stuff, so, which will be tying this all into Angular and web apps, and you'll never have to compile a JavaScript file manually again. So Calling a break for now. Anyone need anything on that's not on the screen?
Can you do a git push?
A git push. Yeah, I could. Yeah.
That is if you're getting it to work.
Right. Well, I can help with that. You know. Yeah.
Well, I messed up a lot of places. That's an issue. Unless I have it all.
Okay, let's go to let's go to git. Git. It's no, it's open.
What is he known for? Stop being the hard.
Compiled. It could be. Typescript.
That's been playing in my mind since you said it.
Oh yeah, man.
Just close those. Oh. I see.
Wait, yeah, it probably has to do with the for group most likely.
Getting that.
Spread out both of them.
This is
And
really
it's not defining anymore, but it's
No, that's fine. I'm just checking those two changes.
I don't know. You're kidding me, that was it.
Well, I mean, it's printing it out, right?
Yeah. It's putting it out now,
I don't think this makes any difference, but I'm just gonna
but
do
it shouldn't print the two of them, right? It should print only one.
No, she put, because it's a
That's
whole.
not right.
Oh,
So I'm good.
What is that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I told you just return the list, right? I didn't tell me
There's a problem.
my specific
Right, you want the whole thing.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So yeah, that one's good now. Yeah, because I know we can get behind it. Either
Why are you
or I'll return the link that's
He was like moving the stream around.
Typescript I was You have to return team list if you want.
Nothing, it's, we're on break. Nothing, it's just, it's irritating me. It's wanting it to.
Well, was one thing I will make. Yeah, when do we come back?
Yeah, we told, that's
so sad. Wait, what?
You didn't say, I don't think.
momentarily.
Yeah.
This is the top.
Where do you want it?
Just to see the return,
Which return? There are many returns.
the list, for the list.
What am I doing? I can just. There you go. Try that.
Me? Yeah. So this and it doesn't have the underline.
That means nothing. But you didn't do JS slash, so that's why it's not moving.
I don't have it because I didn't really take it. Yeah. that's like the head of the directory. So like if it's that is this program is smart enough. All the head is doing that JS.
Did you figure it out?
Yeah, so if you do, for example, you do JS.
What are you doing? Don't teach me all these things.
That's what I'm about.
Just kidding. I'm out. So mention something. I think the slash is before. Like over here.
No, that's fine.
It isn't saying
Yeah,
that
JS,
it's that
don't need to
over.
put it. That's fine. That's fine.
So just like that.
Well, compile it. Don't worry about whether you have a line or not. Compile and see if it works.
Is there anything else?
I don't think so. Yeah, you got one. So just combine it.
No, that one is good. The alpha is good. Finding the other one is not finding the origin, which is inside of the world. You're in Typescript, you see. Yes, that's why I got it. I mean, honestly, you don't have to do. I don't think you have to go all the way down. Should do it. It should do it. It did. The other side. What? The browser. Oh, you haven't opened it yet. Can you go to front and hit refresh? Huh. It's not finding something. Let me look at the yeah, you have to. You probably have to move that folder. Oh, you probably syncing it in the wrong place. Yeah. But you have two JSs. Which one is the good one? It looks like no. Hold on. Go back. I need to take this out. Put it in the JS and the input. That one has a reflection now, so we can replace it. We should do it. This one. Okay, so yeah, you have to compile it again. Yeah. Can you repeat?
There's no wise and big James like that. And it's cloud? Yeah. Oh, wow.
It's just a path there.
Okay.
It's tomorrow, right? Is it tomorrow?
We have to check.
Are you still copying up here?
Yeah.
No, tomorrow is the third place. England, so
No, if you need to move it, I'm just trying to figure out why this is not.
No, that's Sunday. Yes.
Right, hello. We're for Richmond. We are going to be restarting in about 6 minutes.
Aaron, let me know when you get done because I need to go back up a little bit.
Let me see if I can.
Late.
At least like definitely good for the service. They won't let you pick up your own bags. They take it to you. Rooms away by that. I want to go visit them. What I flew married to no, but I think one of them was
Okay, why is this saying this?
I don't like those. I used to be a United member of still technically not by then about them anymore. When I used to travel my days, like straight flight 16 hours. It was not that great because of Leo at more, which is really shitty as well. So, but I accumulated my, now I get free upgrade on United every time I travel. But I don't really know become one, it's very expensive. And it used to be because they charge me $1,000 more than discounts. And you compare discounts at United.
I'm gonna. I think I might
Totally on board.
get this up there as well.
You don't need anything else.
Thank you.
This, can I have your like 2 minutes? Yeah. I need like a break. Sorry. My grandparents actually flying today night. We only pay the taxes. I have a friend whose mom works with that. That's like domestic flights. And you guys, $2.50 away. And then when you fly, so they have to like do it just the day or two before. Because it depends on yeah, that's right. So that's the thing. You have to allow yourself some time to get on a flight. And but then how does visa situation work in those countries? Because in some countries if you get a visa. Flights are very general. No, but they don't give you one like that. They need to have an air ticket. So you're like. Like for example, if you're flying to
You know, normally we do Thursdays and Saturdays, but
It's slightly better before you lose it. Sorry.
not much better. But it cannot get any worse than Korean and definitely it doesn't get any worse than 14-hour time difference. Yeah, that was getting up at 3 a.m. every day.
Like but it's just like a lot of those
What's up?
The one I.
That you put in your JS open. The swigglies, right? It's because you have your JS open. The whole point of us not having those was so we never open that file and just dump it inside the JS folder. So never open it, see it went away. That's probably your error somewhere.
Probably, right?
It's probably some error that you did, so just take a look at it. Well, it says duplicate, so you have one extra somewhere.
I don't know.
So delete one.
Websites that I know even with the scrolling thing you can do it.
Could do that, because at least around here nobody's really excited about it anyway. So even after the fact, nobody's gonna be on the street celebrating it. We're not gonna know, right? If we don't check, we're not gonna know.
It's not the US. I mean, remember 4 years ago, the US was actually wrong. Did you go to any bars, man?
That's actually 4 years ago. I no, you know what? I did go, but I didn't go for the when I went outside. I didn't go for the to see the Eagles game because well, they were playing it too, so I made it like all the way to the quarterfinals.
I was surprised the US made it like far enough toward before so engaged like the finals like.
I don't know.
I saw the Germany Argentina had some Irish bars.
I heard a friend of mine from work, he goes to these bars in Chicago. This is small. It's like,
I'm just getting everybody a repo up there so people can pull down if they're stuck. We're going to start working on an exercise.
and they were white. People trying to get in. And it's like people looking from the outside. Apparently, it's more like it's some sort of super team bar. So it's like a whole bunch of live teams everywhere, and he has a whole ton of spurs. I think they had one also one spring base in the outside. So you had a whole field of those people in the street watching it.
I'm sure they set up like people out there just to like sell something. I'm sure.
In the summer, standing on the street like.
Are you?
Yeah.
You'll be giving them an exercise?
Yep.
Did you say you are?
Yep.
So like now?
Yeah, in a bit. Why?
Okay.
Why?
Just make sure you tell Richmond that also and put it in the Slack channel.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Like on the thousands range. As much heat as a heat.
So I work for concert.
All of you, we don't realize much. I don't feel looking for it.
I can't believe she do something. She should not be able to do it. She's good. Anyway, she's doing.
So Sunday, do you want to do it or?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sure. Look, exactly. I'm gonna full support.
This guy looks good for
Every team here. I'm going for Croatia for sure.
Yeah.
She actually grew herself.
It's the confidence the whole team behind it.
That's also.
It might be now or never.
Yeah.
For all of us.
That's true.
She looks.
I got some like French.
She shows you some. I don't know what she does. I don't know how she does it. It's just crazy.
If all the teams were in the
Oh, you want to draw? There's this thing called a yoga book. It's got like a sling. You can just draw on the sling. And it's part of the perfect vocabulary. It's called the Lenovo Yoga book.
Right. I've just sent hello everybody. We're back and typescripting. Hello? Right. I've sent a link for a Bitcoin link in the Slack channel. You should all be, if anyone's not caught up, you should be all able to clone it and start playing with it. Right. So let's create a new folder. We're going to call this exercise 1. And create a new class underneath that. I think I want to maybe grab the stuff from Sakila, base something off of that. Right, so let's create a new class called actor.ts.
Can you show me how you're creating a class right in there?
I'm just creating a new file and giving it a ts.extension. So if you right click the exercise 1 folder.
Okay, thank you.
Right. So the first part of the exercise, you should have most of the things you need, if not all of them, in your existing code. I want you, and I'll make this, let me find a different thing that I can zoom up. I'm going to type the instructions in Slack, okay? So here's the exercise. Right. No, well, you create that yourself.
Into exercise 1.
No, just put exercise 1 in Typescript 101. You've already cloned it, it looks like. But, yeah.
I meant to love the clone.
I mix it up.
Right, so I'm not going to be following along with this exercise, or I will complete it. So I want the instructions should be out there. You've got an example of a class, you've got an example of the type syntax, and you've got an example of some of the data types that you can use. The one that you don't have, maybe, is the one I avoided because dates are just as horrible in TypeScript as they are in JavaScript, is the date type. So you will need the date type for your last update thing. But let's just concentrate on getting the framework in place. This is all you.
It's right here. So click this. I think you exit out of it. You are touching it. You exit out of that one. Excuse me. I'm trying to help you out.
Right, for those that I'm going to put the instructions on Slack, but for those who've already created their class and got through the exercise, I want you to create a new file called app.ts as well, which I've put up there.
Okay, if you stop right here, that's where I just cloned it.
I'm not going to fill my class out because but I do want to show you something new in TypeScript which will allow you to use your class in other files. So I'm going to make my app.ts. And your HTML script should reference JS app.js. And I will help you out on this one. I'll show you how to new this up, but that's all the help you're getting. I want you to populate, you should populate the properties of the actor. I don't care which actor you choose. We're not pulling this from the database, so you're going to have to populate this yourself. So you see what I've done in that file there? I said, look, I want to use a file from elsewhere. That's the import keyword, and we'll be doing a lot of that when we move over to Angular later on today. So you'll need to know that syntax, and really it's bad practice all round really to keep everything in one big monolithic file, which is one of the reasons this feature is provided.
Similar to using.
Yes, it is. It performs exactly the same function as using. That's correct. So Aaron's just let us know that yeah, it is similar to the using, and I'll put that up there actually so that you can see that. It's not exactly the same because when you do a using, you're simply importing when you do using, you're importing a project that you've already got referenced, and you're just using you're creating a shorthand for the namespace, so you don't have to type everything. This is actually
Almost like adding a
Yep.
NuGet package in a way.
Yep. All right, anyone through the exercise yet? Anyone need, if I've not explained the task right, please tell me. How does Typescript know where your class ends? What? There's no code in it, so there's no point in me putting that up.
Oh, there is no, okay.
Right, so you're going to need to create your own actors class yourself. How are we doing? So I asked you to create a class. What thing in there? What in there? Where's the class being declared? So you can use that. Figure it out yourself. So you're. Yep. So you should have a subdirectory called exercise 1, right? You create that. Have a little read of the Slack channel instructions and get stuff on and let me know. How you doing? How you getting on?
Now it's starting to like that.
That's great. Right, for anyone wondering how to do a date, that'll give you the date right now. Date.now, just as it does in JavaScript.
What is this? What do we put for the type in the class?
Is that date?
Just the word date.
Yeah, and in fact, let me make that explicit, okay, so you know. No worries. So we need to have a look at the we created any of those subdirectories.
I don't have these open up there.
Right. Have a look at the Slack channel. That's got all the instructions on there. So you'll need to do complete directory. Right. Yeah. Exit.
You want a whole new folder for exercise one?
Pardon?
A new folder?
Yep.
Okay.
Are you going to do the exercise? Okay. Yeah. Who you want? I've done you up a little bit as well. That's not going to work for you. It worked for your assignment. So it seems a bit crazy, but if you've created your class already and given it a date type, it will complain about setting that. So do date dot now.
So should we just always expect that dates are going to be funky and shiesty?
You can do stuff with dates. I mean, you can. The real problem with dates is that everyone treats them differently. You know, I mean, I genuinely don't understand why you put your month first. And Scandinavians, they put the years first, and then they have the month, and then they have the date. So dates are tricky in pretty much every platform.
Same reason we don't use the metric system.
You use the metric system. Your drug dealers use the metric system.
How would you know that, Paul?
Because I listen to Ghostface Killer. And he's got a song called Kilo. Right, anyone close to finishing?
Yeah.
Excellent. Good, good. Okay. Anyone really stuck?
Working on it.
How's Richmond doing? You okay, guys? Excellent. Okay. Let's see if I can do the example. Look. So let's talk through this example. What am I doing with first name? What do
String.
yep. I don't do JavaScript that much. It's certainly been a long time since I've yeah.
TS, I'm sorry?
I'm only really, I'm not, I wasn't intending to put it up there for like everyone's copy from. Still doing an exercise. But do you want some help? Because I'd rather do it that. I'd rather do it that way. What specifically?
You know, I've seen. So I was doing all of the stuff in Actor instead of doing it in
That's okay, you can move that stuff over into, but remember you can, when you have .ts, as long as you can use the import statement.
Yeah.
Alright, okay. Don't say anything.
Oh.
You have the same message.
I got that same here.
Yeah? Just have a look. Ah. Hang on. I'll be over in a sec. Okay. This is my fault, not yours. Okay. Export class actor. So anyone who's having that problem, same problem that I'm having with my Typescript? Oh dearie me. Let me just get this sorted, okay?
Do you have a JS folder in the
Yeah, I have a JS folder in exercise 1, yeah.
Hopper has a message for you on Slack.
Yeah, I think it's required. I think I'm using the wrong syntax on here.
It's import, curly bracket, actor, from, and then,
Yeah.
file.
Where's the message from Harper?
It's in questions.
Questions. So I'm just looking at this stuff myself. I've never really done TypeScript in isolation before. Yep, cool, nice. Still not getting that, yeah? That'd be fun.
With that. Excuse me? I said, yeah, I mean, I didn't. Yeah.
There's no export. Exercise 1. How do I get this note? Yeah?
I was able to get mine to compile after I took the ALF file out, but I couldn't get it to with the ALF file.
Oh, okay. So it's just the out file it's complaining about, yeah?
Seems to be at this point.
Alright, we're having some real issues here. I've just got to...
That worked for me as well. No.
Are you able to get the HTML to run?
I mean, it ran in here.
The HTML doesn't help out though.
Might not my HTML didn't work.
It didn't work last time.
Okay, I think I've got it now. And it's the internet. And this happens, man. I feel mortified, but... Right, I think this will work, and I will just have to. Well, like I say, we're Why is it even caring about app.js now? Oh, idiot. Hooray. So I'm going to change mine. So I'm going to change my thing to look directly for app.ts there. And hopefully we've now got a working example. Great, compiling. Right, is anyone working? Got their stuff working?
So, mine runs like yours did within Git bash or Git, but
Yep.
it doesn't actually pop up the HTML. And I'm not sure how to make it.
Right, so this is something I actually can look into.
Yep, so that happens to me that nothing comes up in HTML.
Yeah, I'm looking now, man.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Not even the title comes up. Yeah, the title comes up. So something works statically.
So like the JavaScript is creating. Right, so fortunately I am actually in a position where, oh dear, I want to break this out. We can look at what's going on here. Oh, okay. Uncaught reference error. Exports is not defined. Class actor. It might just be as simple as this, you know. This is one of the benefits of using a framework like Angular. It puts all this plumbing in. Yeah. Yeah. I'll start with you. Right, I've got to show you some other things, right? So for right now, yeah, I'm going to cheat and I'm going to take out my, I'm going to put my actor class in my app. We'll link this up properly when we do the Angular stuff, but we've got to move on to another concept. I'm sorry for being so useless with TypeScript in isolation, but I wanted to show you the TypeScript and how to code things up without without anything in the way. And there you go. We'll deal with the module syntax earlier. I did look at the JavaScript debugger. I think that we need to install something else which Angular provides as part of this framework and module system. So I think that's one of the problems of going and doing this stuff in isolation now. So there's one thing I really want to cover because it's important. We've covered it before, yeah? And it might blow your mind a little bit because it breaks all of the rules. Right, so I'm going to create a new folder here called exercise 2. It won't really be an exercise as such, but it'll be more of a walkthrough. But what's one of the most important concepts in C# that we've not covered here at all yet? Objects. We've covered objects because we created a class, yeah? But you are on the right track. Interface? Yes, you're right. So let's show you something with an interface then. So I'm going to call my interface iPerson. I'm just creating a file. There's, you know, this could end up being anything. In fact, actually, do you know what? I've created a CS type. I'm an idiot. Force of habit. Right, I'm just going to create another app, and we're going to keep everything in the same place because I don't want to go through the same. But we will be breaking these out. Now, oddly enough, I've seen quite a few TypeScript examples where they don't put the I on the front. I still do. First name's got to be a string. last name, it's got to be a string. And if you want to copy and paste your actor thing, your actor class, from the other app, I'll show you something that might blow your mind a little bit. Well, certainly if you've been used to C#. Right, okay. What's this moaning about? Oh yeah, it's moaning that I've already got another thing there, but we're in a subdirectory, it doesn't matter. And we're only going to be compiling the stuff that's in exercise 2. I'm going to create a function which takes person of type I person. I'm taking it out. It's annoying me. And returns just the interpolated name. Now we're using an interface here, not a class. And you know what, I'm just going to turn this into person because it's complaining too much and it's doing my compiler in. Okay. And I've got a question for you guys. So as you know, you can't sort of instantiate interfaces or the interface itself. What is an interface in C#?
Contract.
Same thing here. So given that this is a contract, yeah, and that anything coming in needs to meet the this needs something to be an I person. So I'm going to create a new person, not an I person.
Create a person class?
It's just at the top there, sorry. I renamed my actor thing to a person, okay? Yeah?
Okay.
Well, I'm just going to get this larger. Right, what seems wrong about this? That code, there's nothing...
Not dry.
Pardon?
It's not dry. That's like we're repeating.
But just about from a point of view of an interface, what seems wrong about this class, right? I've just called, right, down here, I've just called this method with something which isn't an I person. It's a person, two different things. How does that work? How do you think it works?
Does it check the variable you put in and run it across iPerson to see if it already has those two? If it passes, then it runs.
Scott asked, does it check the incoming parameter to see if it meets the needs of the contract? And yes, it does. You don't have to implement that interface for it to accept it. If it says that this is similar enough, it fulfills the needs of the contract, it will allow you to pass that object right in. So we could, if we wanted to, on this interface, on this class up here, we'll have to switch things around a little bit so they know about each other. I think it's...
So, place on the page matters.
Yeah, scripted languages, they generally do.
Because it runs in order.
Yep. We could do that. We could specifically say that this implements an I person and declare that it is, yeah? And we'd need to, if we're ever doing a real check on something, you know, to see what type it is. But it's fine. It will happily accept that value, and we can show this.
Here. String on.
String on. Oh, we're back. And just get my copy and paste again, disgracefully. But hey, we're not doing anything major. And there we are. I'm going to put the code back up, but
Can you move that? Click off that.
yeah.
Whatever that is down there.
So you've got this stuff up here. I'm not sure if there's no requirement that you follow on, but
Did we figure out, or I guess we did, I didn't, how do we make it show up in HTML, or actually have
this one was working. There was an issue with I looked at the JavaScript debugger, and there was an issue with modules apparently. So I think we're missing something that we need to run this properly. Okay, but I'm not too concerned about it, because when we get into Angular, the plumbing is all there for your TypeScript, so we can revisit those concepts then. Okay, so I think, given the fact that we haven't really proven out our TypeScript in isolation sort of environment, well, we can do single code files, but I think that given that, we should probably start at least preparing our machines to get Angular down, so that we've got this framework in place, and that you've been exposed to the major components of TypeScript. So let's first of all start by going into Git Bash and npm installing -g .
Does it matter where we install it?
If you're doing -g, it will install it in the global node module, so you're cool. Then Angular CLI. You should see something like that if you're successful. Don't worry too much about the warning. What's the matter?
Yeah.
See what you haven't included the name of Angular CLI. See, let me scroll back up so folks can see the name of the package that's installed. npm install -g space Angular CLI.
It takes a little while too.
At Angular.
Yep.
It took a solid like 3 minutes.
Now, before we get started on this, I just want to say a couple of words about what Angular CLI does. Stands for, anyone want to guess?
Client.
Command line interface.
Yeah, command line.
How about command?
That's what I meant.
How about command line interface?
You didn't hear me.
It stands for command line interface, and you think, well, why on earth would I want to use command line when I've got like IDEs and stuff like that? Well, perhaps my continuing incompetence trying to work without it this morning perhaps demonstrates it. It's a framework. It gives you everything you need to start building apps properly and build them with best practices. It buys all of this stuff up. We don't have to create our own sort of separate index files unless we want to. If we want to create new components, we can do. If we want to create new classes, it will put them in there, and it will make sure that the appropriate stuff is around for it all to work. So it's a good idea I thought doing TypeScript in isolation was there are definite benefits to moving on to Angular at this point. So is everyone installed? Anyone still waiting to get Angular installed? Yep, you're all right. You're all right. Okay, so let's create jump out of this TypeScript 101 directory if we're in it. And make a directory using whatever, or a folder. Sorry, I'd say directory and folder interchangeably. Called Angular. Now, a little bit of history on Angular. There was a product called AngularJS. And AngularJS was shipped a few years ago. AngularJS and Angular are not the same things. They're almost completely different products. Angular 2 was a break and change, built from the ground up, uses TypeScript as its implementation language. AngularJS uses JavaScript and it's got a completely different way of working. It's an example of an MVVM, which is, I think it's model view model, and it's just confusing. But what it means, practically, is it handles a lot of the stuff that happens between a page and some kind of working model. And I'll show you how to get an Angular app up and running very easily. Have you all created an Angular app, by the way, yeah? Okay, so I'm going to create a new directory just for this first exercise.
Do you want this in your Angular?
Yeah, keep all the Angular stuff together, yeah? Because we're going to...
I think you're making this currently within your empowered directory.
Oh, okay. I haven't changed it. Well done, though. Well done. I'm not genuinely not testing. I'm just being shown up. Actually, I'm just going to call it App 1. Right. In fact, I'm not going to do that. Because Angular will do it for us. Right. So if I type in ng new app 1, okay, it doesn't like my name. Okay, fair enough, Angular. I'm going to call it first app. You can call it what you like as long as Angular see that stuff getting created?
Hello.
Ooh.
It's that. Oh. Whoop.
Still installing? Angular is not a form of Node, but it does use the npm. I was asked if Angular is a form of Node. It's not a form of Node, but it does use the Node package management installation stuff to get a lot of its stuff. So yeah, it uses those tools. Hopefully this is finished installing before we break for lunch.
I'm sorry, what did we need to do?
I'm waiting for mine to finish. Is yours finished yet, Brian?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
Successful.
Right, it's first out of the gate. Okay, so change CD or change directory into your, in Git Bash, change directory. If you're finished, change directory into that new directory that you've created. I'm still getting on the screen on mine.
Do we need to take care of the depreciated thing?
What's that?
You did some sort of install.
It's my master now.
ng new is the command to create a new app, yeah? I know, mine's still going as well. Brian is going to be one of the first to...
I'm in my new master.
Right. So, Brian, can you type for me? ng space serve. And then press
Enter.
Yep.
Does Angular automatically create branching system for
Okay,
you?
Windows Firewall has lots of...
Yeah, allow access. Allow access.
It's allowing it anyway.
Right, I'm done.
Yes.
Scott, I'll get back to you in a sec.
Compiled successfully.
So after it runs, type what you're typing now.
Hang on.
Yeah, it's first app.
Yeah, first app. Okay, ng serve. You might get a security warning. Just say yes because it's weird. Right.
Could not find module.
What was that? What directory are you in?
First app.
Wow. And you've made no changes whatsoever. Hang on.
Same.
Did you can you do me a favour and try and create create an entirely new directory, please?
Yeah.
Right. So anyone who's got a screen like this here, yeah? Has everyone got a screen?
Waiting.
Yeah, you're still waiting, are you? Wow.
What do you want the directory called?
What's that?
Were you asking me to create a new directory?
Nope. So you're there, right?
Yes, sir. Have been for a while.
Oh crap! I'm not in the wrong one, aren't I? So I'm running. ng serve starts up, compiles the whole app, starts up, and runs a new web server on localhost port 4200. Localhost colon 4200. And you should be able to see your new Angular app.
Did it
4200. We've got to have a colon after the You've got to have a colon after the 42 after the local host.
Looky there.
Now close in Visual Studio Code. Open folder and open your Angular project folder, and when you're done, select it. We're going to have a brief overview of stuff before we break for lunch, but I want to make sure everyone gets Angular installed and is ready to go.
Open a folder. Open that file. That folder.
Excuse me? Open the folder. It's the whole folder you need. So, and your Angular. In Visual Studio Code, yeah. Not the Angular one, yeah. Where
so just select the folder and open it.
That's great. Yeah. You can start new git. You can start new git bash if you need that. Right, so close. Right. I think what we might need to do is get some of your NPM installations updated, because I'm not sure. We seem to be having. Let me have a look at what's going on with you. Have you got your app saved? Right. And I think it's got to keep running. Not running, you won't be able to see it. You got your app running? NG serve local host 4200. Yeah. Yeah. Look at that.
I'm waiting for the server one to load.
Okay.
I finished installing, but it did tell me there was a lot of.
You're done. You can go on to 4200. Local host 4200.
Default?
Yeah.
Every time I run NG serve,
Yeah. Well, yeah. Anyone who's getting the error
40 what? 42.
about an Angular dev kit, yeah. I'm gonna try something here.
Okay. And then. What's the next one?
Are you still getting that error, yeah? When you try and run it?
Yeah, it said I needed to update, so I'm trying to
Are you installing twice at once then?
well, I didn't really go through.
What is that still running? Can you get me to the bottom of that window? That is still running.
First app. Okay.
I think this one's running out.
Alright. Is that finished?
No, it's still. Do you have a question? Want to get booted? Oh, okay. What's that?
Maybe, I'm just curious.
Boot it.
Right, okay, so briefly, Richmond, we're breaking for lunch in around 10 minutes. Is it finished?
And that's homework.
I said 20 yesterday.
Was it like 20?
52.
And ESPN website didn't work.
That was the last one.
Wow.
He keeps telling me it's not
You know, I will give contribution. NG server.
Yeah.
NG server. NG server. Or you go to the right one. To see the
Yep, and
This is ridiculous,
So you did the update?
right, anyone getting anyone getting problems with their something called Angular Dev Kit? I'm sending over a link now. I don't think you need to do what would be as extreme as what you've done there, but yeah. Oh, actually no. Right, first of all, I think before we break for lunch, everyone needs to run this command. You're already running it, so you're fine there, Alan. Yeah? Is it still going?
It just finished.
Cool. Okay. Is it working now?
So we need to run that?
Yeah, well, run that before lunch, because, just as you go to lunch, because we've got to
Run what?
this command in Slack. In Slack, in the public channel.
Do you know how to go there? Just go to localhost 42 and a web browser.
There was a movie called like that?
Okay, so do you want us to run it now?
Yeah.
Or you said just
Yeah,
before we
because,
go?
yeah. You can run it now because we're not going to be doing any dev before lunch, yeah? But I want to give you a quick tour of this Angular app. Okay, so the app itself lives in the SRC directory. Sound like a familiar convention? Yeah. We've been following that convention for a little while. Yeah.
How do you get it to like stop running so you can type in a new command?
You just start a new Git bash.
Server.
Yeah.
Control C.
But yeah. I personally start a new Git bash. Or another, what you could do as well, if you want Git bash to keep going, you can, I believe, let me try this out.
Some sort of background.
Yep. So if you do ng serve that'll put it into the background, and you can continue using.
So you wrote it.
But it will do stuff like that every now and then. Yep. I would just start a new Git bash window or new command window or something like that. It's far easier. It's just going to confuse everybody. So okay, I just want to give you a quick tour of an app before we get back and start like hitting some of this. Right. First of all, we've got this file here. What's this file? .css, what would that contain? What information would that contain typically? Excellent. This is our HTML page, and if you look at that, that is broadly, that's the same stuff that we saw on our first page. This, we're not really going to cover this in any great detail, yeah, but Angular comes in with a built-in testing framework. You can create unit tests outside of it. I know we've not covered a great deal of that with you guys, but it comes ready. It comes test ready and designed to be tested. And this is our application component. Now, what's one thing that's really cool about Angular is that when you run ngserve, one thing that's really cool about Angular CLI specifically, and things, well, actually, it runs on top of something called Webpack, but I'll actually get my words out, right? It watches your app and changes to your app, and it changes it automatically for you if you make a different choice. So I'm just going to change the name of this to Welcome to Empower. I just want to show you in action, because what will happen is, as soon as I make that change to there, see that? It's off. It's running. It's detecting the changes in my app. It's done a new version of the app, and if I go back to my screen now, it is very, very nice. Okay? And all the stuff that we were doing this morning, i.e. putting stuff out, transpiling things, application development is rapid.
Wow.
How, you said there was a testing area here?
Yep.
So, how does testing work if it's almost, if it automatically updates like that?
Testing framework can be run independently. I think there's actually an ng test thing which will go off and run all of the unit tests in order. Hang on, just got to grab. Sorry. Right, let's reconvene after lunch. Have you still got it? Can you run your app yet? Yes. Yes, you can run your app. Okay.
Balance. We have to move over.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are moving over to
the latest command that you put in.
so everybody pack up, and we're meeting there at,
ngserve.
let's say 11:55.
After this one.
Make sure that you're there by
Oh, the
11:55, so we can all walk back.
I would honestly just
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
do that.
Well, this one is hacked. Because I already started a new one, but there was another command that we had to.
In more in the lobby at 12:55.
I think you did ngserve again.
Yeah, and then I did it with an ampersand on the end of it, which forced it into the background, yeah?
Even while
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
That's it. I think that's it.
Man, that's taking a long time. So we're going to be moving over to N1. We're moving over to the next building.
What now?
Well, after lunch.
I'm like,
Am I leave my machine here for now?
I don't know what got about.
may not be aware that you have it.
So what time should I
Have a week and a happy birthday.
Date night with wife, I don't know what we're doing.
We can go Saturday and then
I like the concept. I don't know if that's clear yet.
Yes.
But I do like the, But y'all have a good weekend.
So does yours complete?
Yeah.
Now you have to go to the level of 2200.
I'm gonna do that. That's what it doesn't.
So when you come back, we're going to, N1. We're on, we're meeting with Rob again.
I think he's running on that.